Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetsBirds. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Andy Molitor. And I don't feel too bad, Andy, because I made sure to caveat that I had no idea what I was talking about. But it's been a while, but since I blew up my bracket on the first weekend. But Baylor's gone, Iowa's gone. Heck, I got Texas Tech left, but not much else. How about you?
Yeah, I didn't do a lot of bracket contests. I got so busy with content, like I didn't even enter the company one. I feel bad because usually I actually created a folder on my Chrome that has all the places to log in like ESPN and Yahoo and CBS and carbon contests and the free one here and the free one there. Like, you know, uh, I think last year I entered just an obscene amount. I just didn't get in any. Really, the only one I did get in was I think I mentioned it. You throw in $100, 32 guys get two teams each, and I ended up with Davidson and Richmond. And you need to get, I think, at least to the Elite Eight to get your money back. So threw away the cash on that one. Last year was good though. I had USC and somebody else who made it back. I made a little money last year, so I'm down lifetime for sure on bracket leagues. Although there was 1 year where I had like a good one, and it was so much fun. It's like I'm in the money in every one of them, and I think that 1 year will probably keep me coming back for the rest of my life. Otherwise, yeah, it was a good
Fun.
weekend. Some good
It
basketball
was.
for sure.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, the Friday early slate was pretty brutal. It was tough sledding on Friday. Hopefully, you skipped those early games. But overall, there were some fun matchups, a lot of comebacks. Did we have a buzzer beater? I don't know. I
Not
can't remember if
really.
we
I
had
know
one.
you
I don't
can
think we
bet on
did.
that too. They have props for buzzer beaters, overtimes.
Right. It's just how many buzzer beaters, or will there be a buzzer beater?
I'm
But I
not
feel like we
sure.
didn't get one.
I don't think we had one. That's kind of annoying. No true buzzer beaters yet, Dan says. And yeah, the 12 to 5 system or 12 to 15 system did very well on Thursday. And then I debated, like, I always said if it doesn't do good on Thursday, I'll double my units. Like, I might have to throw in a caveat. If it does that well and you get a massive one and two other middle sized ones, you should almost have your units for the next day because sometimes you just run out of upsets. And I really think a couple of them probably were close. I think Akron and one other team. We had some higher seeds up late that kind of fell on it. So it would have been cool to get a couple more. But overall, after the first day of that, if you just flat bet those 16 games, you were profitable no matter what, thanks to our friends and the small little school of St. Peter's and over right across the river from you. I think it's Jersey City is where it's located. So it's not terribly
It's
far
closer to
from
New
you.
York.
Yeah, I think it's right across the bridge from the city. So little St. Peter's doing us right. There's always one. And I said this. I said this to somebody. This is why I bet them blind because I would have never picked St. Peter's out of all the 15s. Like they had such a brutal matchup, and just somebody plays their 99 percentile game against a bad team or a good team playing bad that day, and shit happens. So a lot of fun there. And then also I've been just firing off. I've stayed away from totals. I think these are a little tougher for me to get a grasp on without spending a lot of time on it in these neutral arenas with the weird matchups and stuff. So I've only been on sides. And funny enough, as much as I avoid the major conferences, I think I'm only winning bets in the March Madness tournament. Like anything I've tried in CBI or the CIT or the other stuff have gone kind of bad. Like Saturday was 2-2, and both of the wins were in the big tournament with major teams. So I don't know. Today is gonna be the tester for that because there is no March Madness. We only have the smaller conferences stuff. I do have one bet for today. I'll talk about later. Before we get into too much stuff, what was I going to mention? Oh, it's F1 is coming over to 4 for 4. Producer Dan, is going to be working on some F1 stuff. Look for that. I think it is 3 Eastern over on
Love
their
Formula
YouTube
E.
channel. Yeah, they're going to do some four for Formula One. I'm sure. Check in the chat. He'll type some stuff up there and we'll post it for 3 p.m. Eastern, 4 for Formula One show. Otherwise, yeah, it was a packed weekend with that, with golf, with just your normal sports. We have the NHL trade deadline today. I'm gonna have Matt in tomorrow to talk about that. And golf, it is double golf week. double golf for we have an alternate event. So because the match play, Alex, you're familiar.
Oh,
So
I love
yeah,
match play.
if your bracket is broke, busted, I think they call it actually. I'm gonna call it broke. If your bracket is broke, there's a new one. There's a match play bracket. It'll be revealed. Noon and I are gonna do a show here in
Love
about an
match play.
hour to go over that. So they are going to put together a bracket with 64 golfers, just like March Madness. This is fun. You can actually go over to the PGA website. We created a group that you can play in if you want it for free. I think we're going to give away a free sub to BetSports Golf for somebody who wins the bracket. But we're going to go over that in about an hour. It's very fun. But the fact that they only take 64 golfers means there is an alternate event field heading to the Dominican Republic. These poor professional golfers have to go to a resort in Dominica and play golf on this beautiful, beautiful Punta Cana Corrales. So I'll go over both of those as we get through the week. I don't have anything really yet. If you do get a chance to get over into the Discord, there's a free Discord right now on BetSports Golf. If you're in the deep dive Discord, I'm gonna send a link in there to the golf Discord if you want to go in there. There's anything we play and just golf talk and stuff. But for now, I'm just passing on it today, and we'll talk more about it probably Tuesday and Wednesday for sure.
I can dig it. Double golf event. I mean, I'm used to having multiple tennis events, and I'm curious to see how you handle multiple golf events. I mean, you got different courses, different locations. Are you ready? Do you feel, I mean, have you handled a
Not
situation like this before?
I've handled it. Not only this, Alex, but because it takes long enough to run a tournament of that size, you can't have these guys playing, 72 holes a day. They have to start Wednesday on the match play. So can't get a normal week. We only have 2 days before this starts. The other one in the Dominican Republic, I call it Dominica. I think that's just the island. That one starts normal. That's a Thursday morning East Coast start. So Wednesday start for match play to get it all fit in. But until then, we'll be betting on basketball, I guess, and we'll start with the NBA. As boy, here's a number I didn't expect to see. I don't know who they're playing, so I don't know. Let's pull up this and I'll do guesses because I haven't cheated yet. If the Pistons are favored by this much, it means they're playing the Trailblazers.
Very good, Andy. And that will be our first NBA bet of tonight. We're in the home stretch here. There's about 12 games left in the season. The standings are starting to tighten up a little bit. Looks like the Lakers will get into the play-in game. Curious to see if they can get ahead of the Pelicans to get to 9. But things are starting to firm up. You've got the Nuggets and Timberwolves fighting for that number 6 spot in the West. Things in the East starting to settle a little bit. The Bucks, Sixers, and Celtics kind of fighting for 2, 3, and 4 there. The Raptors trying to hold, seeing if they can sneak up to the Cavaliers at 6. And then the Hawks, pretty solidly there. It looks like things are starting to form up. But a couple games tonight, 2 picks that I like, actually 9 games overall. And Andy was correct. The Detroit Pistons, not only to be 7-point favorites, but 7-point favorites I deem worthy of betting on, are playing the Portland Trailblazers. Now, Jeremy Grant is questionable, I believe, leading towards out. I don't love that, but even with him not in the game, I have the Pistons here close to double-digit favorites. I mean, Portland has been terrible. They've just been getting blown out. I mean, I've said it once, I've said it before. I mean, maybe one of these days, Andy, I'll have a little game for you. How many of these people are actual Portland Trailblazers? And we'll just have a list of random names, and you can try to
Well,
pick
I'm
them
gonna do
out.
so bad at that.
It would be so bad. The Pistons, again, having a nice end of the season here. Kate Cunningham is really starting to blossom and flourish a little bit. I'm kind of excited to see what his sophomore leap is going to be like next year, but really like this spot here for the Pistons. And again, also a bad spot for the Blazers as well, travel-wise. So we'll lay the 7 with the Pistons. Looks like that's at the 7.5. Anything 8 or better looks good to me. And then the Boston Celtics, team total over 115 here. They're 15-point favorites in Oklahoma City, which means they'd be close to like 18, 19-point favorites if they were at home. Oklahoma City now rivaling Portland for the worst roster in the league, depending on whether or not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is on the floor. Looks like he might play tonight. Overall, just teams have just been running over this Thunder team. I'm a little concerned about Boston covering such a big number in a spot where maybe they might not be entirely engaged, but I don't see how they get anything less than 116, 117 points tonight. I am close to 118, almost 119. Thought about betting the full game over, but again, not knowing with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander being in, being out, what to expect from Oklahoma City. So happy here to just take a Celtics team total over 115. Again, a number they've gone over a bunch of times over this last month as they continue to play at a high offensive efficiency, and generally only struggle against better defenses. That's not what the Thunder are tonight. So Pistons -7, Celtics team total over 115.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was my second guess. If you told me the Pistons were not playing Portland, I would have said okay. I think I would have said OKC next. I think that maybe the Magic third. I'm not sure. Although I did take a look at the standings yesterday because I wanted to see. I just my daughter again is so into the Timberwolves now, and she's always telling me the score, and then she told me like the recent scores, and I'm like, man, we have to be pushing it. And if you look, I believe the Timberwolves would not be in a play-in tournament at this very moment. Again, 12 or so games left for everybody, and it's very tight. I think they actually have the same record as the Nuggets, who are sitting in the seven.
They do.
It's
They have
just
the
a
tiebreaker.
tiebreak. Is that is that locked in? Like, is there a game left that could swing that, or I don't
Let
know
me
if they
double
play
check.
the
If they play
Nuggets.
each other, there's a game left. Let me check the schedule and see. But yeah, I mean, the Timberwolves are starting to lock themselves up into maybe a playoff series with the Golden State Warriors. So you can watch some Steph Curry
Oh God.
as the Timberwolves put up a bunch of points here. But as I look through the schedule, no more games. I'm sorry, they do. There's one more game,
Ooh.
Minnesota, Denver. It'll be in Denver Friday, April 1st. So that'll be a big game for that.
Yeah, the Timberwolves schedule is not great. They have the Suns, the Celtics, the Mavericks, the Raptors, the Nuggets, and the Bulls yet to play. So that's going to be a nice win, nice wins over the Spurs and or excuse me, the Bucks and Lakers and Heat lately, and I mean the Spurs, whatever. That was a I don't know what to make of a game where you give up 139 and still cover. So God bless the offense at least. That one's fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And then my other NBA question. Once in a while, I actually pay attention. I'm listening when you're talking NBA. What has been the just be seeing how Cunningham's playing right now and thinking of what point we're in the college basketball schedule? Like he missed a bunch early in the season, right? He missed some games.
Yeah.
Like, he's pretty well rested at this point. He's not hitting some rookie wall playing like 65, 70 games at this point already.
Now I have to go back and look. He missed a chunk of time. I'm trying to remember from when to when. But yeah, he's missed time throughout the season. Trying to see how many games he's actually played real quick. But it's one of those things. I think people maybe so he's played 55 games already, much more
People
than he would
probably
play in a college
overstate that.
season. But he's had some misses here and there, and I think maybe it's a little overblown the difference between college and kind of the NBA because even when they're not playing games every night, those guys are still training and doing other things. So it obviously is a big leap, but I think you're right. There's been a little less effect for Cade, given that he's had some breaks during the season.
Yeah, and just this probably was a thing. Like the rookie wall, it probably was a thing in the 80s and 90s, and to even 80s, 90s, and today. I sound like a radio DJ. But just with the leaps and bounds we've made with whatever you want. It's not medicine, but like training, like the investment teams, even college teams, put into their training staff, figuring out that these players need to be doing a lot more in the weight room and just I mean just probably even more cardio. It's just run some killers at the end of practice or whatever. But I think these guys are way more equipped to jump to the next level at this point. Maybe the rookie wall is going the way of the dodo bird. Speaking of the way of the dodo bird, I thought this is the Seahawks. I'm betting the Seahawks. I thought it was a different bird, but UNCW. This is a tough game against Drake, honestly. I was a little hesitant to take this when the spreadsheet said this was a good look. It is a neutral site. I was a little worried this was a high seed situation. If this were in Iowa, I probably wouldn't bet at this number, but this is a neutral site in a one of the lesser tournaments here. And UNCW, if you remember, was one of my favorite teams when I played the Colonial Athletic Association conference tournament. They were my outright pick at 11-1. They made the finals, lost a very close game to Delaware, almost made the big dance. Like this was a team that was peaking. Yeah, Towson beat the tar out of them. Towson's very good, but they had nice wins over Delaware, Drexel, a few other teams late in the season. And it is a nice slow paced team with a really good offense that just straight up doesn't turn the ball over. So my favorite kind of team. If you can shoot the ball, you don't give the other team extra possessions on turnovers, play well. This would be, gosh, I mean, both teams have done this, but this is like their fifth straight game at a neutral. So maybe a little travel weary. They did play yesterday, but it wasn't the same gym. So they did get a big break in between that Delaware loss and the first game against VMI yesterday, which they decimated the Cadets in the second. So yeah, and yeah, there's some sevens out there. Rick Daddy says, I'm guessing people like Drake. Drake's a known
Everybody loves
quantity.
Drake.
It's a name. It's a name people know. Just he has the meme where he doesn't like something and then he does like something. That's one of my favorites. So, yeah, and it Sam Lipscomb brings up a good point to close here. Number one free throw defense in the CAA. Can't teach that. That is my favorite. Is to see like the defensive stat for other teams shooting free throws against you. I mean, that's probably a strike against them. If everybody shoots shitty against you for free throw shooting, like that's high variance. End up winning some games by accident because you play a bunch of teams who don't hit their bunnies that day, or just it might just be a bunch of bad teams and maybe a non-conference schedule that's conducive to that. So, UNCW Seahawks today, my only bet. We'll have more tournament games as we get to more tournament games once we hit Thursday for sure.
I can dig it. In the meantime, I guess we got to do something this afternoon. I wonder if there's any sports on right now, Andy. Can you think of anything that might be on right now?
But before you get to this, did you watch Taylor Fritz at all? I know you don't bet the men as much, but that was something. Like, well, it was one of those where it's like it's right up your alley, Alex. It's NBA esque because the morning reports Taylor Fritz tests out ankle, doesn't think he can go, calls off practice, calls off his warm up training session. Looks like they're just gonna hand the title. It's half NBA, half WWE because then we get to the match and all of a sudden out comes
There he
Taylor Fritz
is.
in these fight. And then really it was Nadal whose shoulder looked like it was bothering him more than anything. And congrats because it has been since 2001 that an American tennis player men's has won the Indian Wells tournament. That was Andre Agassi. That's a long time ago. That guy's been doing Canon commercials for the last 15 years. So good job, Taylor Fritz. What did you think of the women's final?
Iga Swiatek continues to look really awesome. Starting to clearly settle herself into, I think, maybe second best player here after Barty, depending on how some of the other women are looking. Overall, it was a decent tournament. Disappointed in Badosa. Had her chances against Maria Sakkari. Sakkari makes the final, by the way. Continues to just play better and better. But yeah, the men's final was how some men's finals ended up being. It wasn't quite that U.S. Open final with Thiem and Zverev, and both of them are just like on one leg out there trying to not fall over. But it was just a mess. But congratulations to Taylor Fritz. I mean, there's something to be said about survival. In tennis, some of these long tournaments, it really is a contest of will and your physical ability to finish. So kudos to him for that.
Where are we headed now? I know where we're headed now. This is like the only part of the tennis schedule that I know, like for sure, what the next tournament is. We head to an NFL stadium, essentially.
More or less.
I
Miami.
mean,
We're going to
it's the
Miami.
parking
The
lot.
second half of the Sunshine Double. Everybody leaves California, heads east. Again, that's that tough west to east travel spot, but we actually know about all that. They're all playing it together. It doesn't really matter. They'll be there for a handful of days. Anyway, qualifying today and tomorrow. The actual tournament, I believe, starts on Wednesday. There might actually be first round matches tomorrow. I can't remember if tomorrow is just qualifying or not, but we'll give out some outrights and stuff tomorrow as I figure all that out. Qualifying today, a big qualifying field, but overall just kind of a mess. Was able to find two spots that I liked, though. Both of these will be this afternoon. Looks like they're timed for right about 3 o'clock Eastern or so. Again, shouldn't be any earlier than that. We've got a couple hours here to get this in. Alexandra Krunic, a very talented player playing Stephanie Vogeli. The problem here is Krunic really can struggle from time to time with consistency. This is one of those spots, Andy, where I'm betting on what I believe to be the more talented player who could just come out and miss every single shot. But at this particular price, I have this match closer to Krunic minus 140, minus 145 in this spot. Vogeli an aging American player who is trying to fight her way into this event might be able to qualify, but I honestly wonder if her time would be better spent at a smaller tournament trying to steal some ranking points down in the ITF ranks at this point. So, like this spot for Krunic and think this is a good place for her in her game to beat Stephanie Vogele. Daria Snyder, a really nice young player. Again, one of the many teenagers that's just super talented coming up. Goes against Harmony Tan. Tan has been playing some nice tennis, but I think starting to get a little too much credit here in a match that I have pretty much at a pick on. Maybe have Tan a slight favorite, but happy to take Snyder here at plus anything. There should be a plus 110 or so out there. Again, both of these start this afternoon, right around 3 Eastern time, maybe a little bit later.
Oh, qualifying. These are the ones where I'm glad you said what time they are. This is the
So,
most confusing.
gotta pay
I just
attention.
never adjust well because if you're doing qualifying, it means we've moved. And after like several days, I've gotten used to like the cadence of when tennis is. Because I do it, even if I'm not betting on it, I still watch a lot of tennis. Like I enjoy, honestly, I'll watch any sport really. When I've sat down to flip on golf and or basketball, whatever channel the TV was on last the other day had the Six Nations rugby on. It was Ireland, Scotland. I ended up watching like the rest of the first half. I don't understand that at all. I was like Googling penalties they were giving players. I still didn't quite understand, but good job, Ireland. They won that match. They did not win the tournament. They needed something else to happen. Very confusing. I'd rather watch the other things. Um,
I like
yeah,
Six
that's it.
Nations.
It was cool. I could not do that. Those guys are just yoked. Like their shoulders are. I don't know how they fit through doors.
They're getting better and better at putting it on TV because it's a little tough because you have to kind of see the whole field for anybody that hasn't seen 15s rugby. It's really quite a spectacle. I mean, I think a lot of people have seen sevens before, which is just like watching a heart attack. That's unbelievable the amount of sprinting and stuff they do there. But 15s is a lot of fun, and if you ever get a chance to watch some of the Six Nations while you're flipping through, pull it on for a little bit. If not only just to hear the accents of the announcers talking about Wales.
Yeah. No, yeah, the announcers for sure not from America. That was fun. The other thing I did watch now that you got me on this tangent, flipping through, I ended up seeing women's polo and I didn't realize how big that
Like
field
polo on
is.
the horses, not water
Yeah,
polo.
the field is massive, like hundreds of yards long. I mean, they
Well,
absolutely
gotta fit the
crack it. It
horses.
goes flying through the air and it's like it makes it to like the halfway line. And they're trying to ride horses at the same time. That's a whole nother disaster. But yeah, I think they should get more rugby on. That was enjoyable to watch, and I just didn't understand any of the strategy, so that was kind of annoying. We'll
I'll
get
explain
there.
it to you next time.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like you have two different sports almost between sevens and 15s because you have so few players on the field, and sevens is just like you said, a hectic mess, whereas 15s is a little more. There's a rhyme and a reason to everything they do right away with how they set up these plays, and it looks similar from play to play. But I enjoyed it. I don't think you can buy any rugby tickets, especially now that the sixes are over. But on PropSwap, you can certainly get yourself some March Madness tickets. You can unload yourself some March Madness betting outright tickets if you got yourself something
Couple
through to the
days.
second weekend. Get it listed on there. Maybe somebody can get you a decent price if you want to buy off instead of, I get a lot of DMs this time of year. So how do I hedge out of this? Well, buddy, you got four more games. You don't. Unless it says 1,000,000 to 1, you ain't hedging at this point. You can sell the ticket on PropSwap, one of our sponsors, our title sponsor for today, where you can still get that 100% deposit match up to $500 using promo code BetSpurts. Buy some tickets, sell some tickets, check it out, hit us up with any questions, and we'll catch you tomorrow only if you do hit the thumbs up in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.